Ladies and gentlemen, I've talked about a lot of Chicago Bulls players and what I expect to see from them in the upcoming season. I've talked about Wendell, I've talked about Lowry, I've talked about Coby White, but one player I have not talked about in terms of what I expect from them this upcoming season is our best player, Zach LaVine. What do I expect from the Chicago Bulls' best player next season going into a very, very big year for him? Find out in this very video. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aiden Sports Show and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls video in relation to Zach LaVine and my expectations of what he can bring to the Chicago Bulls season next season, whatever you want to call it, the upcoming season. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aiden Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below, what do you expect from Zach LaVine in order to give him a good season ranking? Because at the end of the day, Zach LaVine is our best player, and I think coming into this season he will still be our best player. So what do you want from our best player to make sure that we can win some games? It's very important. When you have a team, you always have an idea of who your best player is and who's your most valuable player, and at the moment that player for us is Zach LaVine. And although it is a very good stat line that he does have, if you guys want to know his stats, it is 25.5 points per game, 4 rebounds a game, 4 assists a game. He has a 45% field goal range, I believe, and he shot 38% from 3, which is phenomenal stats, and most importantly, phenomenal efficiency coming into this season. Again, 25 points per game on a bad team. People might say that's overlooking what Zach LaVine can do. People might say that it's just not enough. At the end of the day, Zach LaVine has proven time after time to be our most consistent and our most valuable player. And it's a big step for Zach LaVine to take next season. Again, when Zach LaVine came into this team, the very first time, he had Fred Hoiberg and he had Jim Boylen, two coaches that are very different, but also two coaches that did not live up to be the answer that we're looking for in that coaching position. Both of them ended up getting sacked very, very quickly into their job. I mean, by quickly, I mean within 2 to 3 years. And Jim Boylen was the same, only a year and a half or so, and he got sacked. So this is the exact same situation where Zach LaVine is going into a team with a brand new head coach, a brand new front office. He's our best player. He had all these stats. He has incredible efficiency. But again, what can we expect from Zach LaVine to make sure that he progresses, he gets better, and the Chicago Bulls get better as well? So it's very interesting because Zach LaVine, I don't think it's all just about the numbers for Zach LaVine to make sure he has a good season. I think there's so much more that Zach LaVine needs to do in terms of the actual game of basketball that can help us, and especially in a new system. So we all talked about Zach LaVine, there's potential of him getting traded, or Coby White's a shooting guard. I'm doing this video fully based on Zach LaVine being here next season. This video has nothing to do with any of those trade rumors. This video will not be discussing any Zach LaVine going anywhere, because in my opinion, and this video based, I think Zach LaVine will be a Chicago Bull this year. So it's a big topic. Now, first off, we need to talk about the new system that Zach LaVine will probably be playing in, and that system will be under Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan has played multiple systems in his NBA coaching career. His OKC Thunder team, I mean, he had a brand new team with that OKC Thunder franchise every single year that he played. From Kevin Durant to Russell Westbrook alone to Chris Paul. At the end of the day, this OKC team has been through the ringers in terms of the brand new stars that have come in, and the role players, and the entire team, pretty much except for Steven Adams, was the team was different, completely different from start to finish. So in doing that, he was able to adapt into many systems, able to put players in better positions to win games. And even when he wasn't at his greatest, he still managed to take that OKC team to the playoffs. So it's a big thing for Zach LaVine to know what kind of system we're going to be playing. From what I understand, and from what I hear from Artorias, what I hear from Billy Donovan, what I hear from a bunch of Bulls executives, and of course reporters, the Chicago Bulls are looking to play more of a playmaking type of way, to share the ball movement. And I think Zach LaVine will need to get better at that. I don't think Zach LaVine is the worst, don't get me wrong. But Zach LaVine is more of a player to take most of the shots. Majority of the shots will be in Zach LaVine's hands when the ball is in the crunch time. and we need a player to take us out, to dig us out of that hole, it's in Zach LaVine's hands. It's always going to be in Zach LaVine's hands. And sometimes when you're doing a playmaking style of basketball, you don't necessarily have to have the ball in your hands. And I think Zach LaVine, he is good. I mean, his corner 3 percentage last year was impeccable. Was fantastic. He's a great off-the-ball shooter, catch-and-shoot shooter. I think we need to see more of that from Zach LaVine next season, going into next season, because I don't think the ball can always be in his hands. I don't think he's going to be in that position the entire time to take us out of tough situations or to put up a ridiculous shot at the end of the shot clock because the ball just ended up landing in his hands. I think with this team, we're going to be shooting early in the shot clock and we're going to be spreading the ball. And Zach LaVine, in my opinion, needs to get better at that. And I think he knows that as well. Talking about Zach LaVine, he's mentioned previously that he's been working on his defense, he's been working on his playmaking, and he's been working on his floaters. So he's adding elements of his offensive game that was not there prior, and defensively as well, into his game. Now, the playmaking, in my opinion, will need to improve. Again, we don't have an out-and-out playmaker. We may be able to get that in the draft or free agency, but as of this time, we don't have an out-and-out playmaker that's going to give the ball to Zach LaVine in good shots, to give the ball to Coby White with good shots, to give the ball to anybody, to Lowry, to Wendell. We need a lot of players part of this offense, and in doing that, you might sacrifice Zach LaVine's 25 points per game to ensure that other players are involved in the offense and everybody looks more of a threat. So the numbers, as I mentioned before, is not something I'm looking at with Zach LaVine. But what I do want to talk about is efficiency, because his efficiency was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, not many players that put up 25 points per game, even on a bad team, shoots 45% from the field and 38% from three. That, in my opinion, is the key to Zach LaVine's season. And of course, he shot 80% from the free throw line as well. That can continue as well. But the efficiency is where I look at Zach LaVine to say he's going to have a good season. If he can keep that efficiency up when he's not taking as many shots, when he's not in the ball, he doesn't have the ball that often compared to what he used to, and he still manages to keep that efficiency, then I think it's only good things for Zach LaVine on this team, because he's shown that he can adapt and he doesn't need the ball always in his hands to make something happen. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to wait and see what Zach LaVine can do. So if you're asking for stat-based, if he was able to keep this exact stat base, 25 points per game, 4.8 rebounds, 4 assists, if he's able to keep those stats on this team with a playmaking system around them and we win more games and there's still more players that are coming into the offense, I think Zach LaVine's had an absolutely fantastic season. I'm expecting his stats to go down. I don't think his stats will be any worse, but maybe slightly worse than this season. I think his stats will go down because the system might force Zach LaVine to get his stats statistically to go down. But if that efficiency remains the same, then I think Zach LaVine is going to have a good season here. And he always, it's always a realm out of the realms of possibility, man. Zach LaVine has continuously gotten better each and every single year. And I don't think stats define what a good player can be. If someone has to sacrifice the 25 points per game to win more games, I'd expect them to do that. And I expect Zach LaVine to do that if that's the case as well. Coby White should be starting. He should get more of the offense in. Larry Marketing. We need to give Larry Marketing more shots. We need to give Wendell Carter more shots. Wendell Carter was such a waste on the offensive end sometimes that it was ridiculous because he basically was just there for his defensive presence. We need to get more of our players involved. And again, if we're going to get a playmaker, that will most likely happen. And in doing that, someone's stats have to go down. If Coby White's stats go to 20 points per game or 15 points per game, Larry Marketing gets his stats up, Wendell Carter gets his stats up, someone has to go down. Not everybody can keep getting their stats up, otherwise we just went to a straight playoff team. I think Zach LaVine's stats will end up going down for the Chicago Bulls, but I do think it's for the greater good of the Bulls team. And that doesn't mean he's not as valuable as he once was. It doesn't even mean that he's not as good as a player as he was this season. I think Zach LaVine, it's the efficiency that's the key here. We can get his efficiency at the same or even to a better standings. Maybe having, instead of 25 points per game, maybe 23 points per game or 22 points per game, but his efficiency is still there. Then again, I don't see any issue with that with Zach LaVine. So that's what I expect from him next season, with a playmaking type of style that Billy Donovan will play, with everybody getting the ball, with the offensive end just gelling together. Zach LaVine's clutch let's take random shots, let's take random three-point shots because Zach LaVine is the primary scorer. I hope that won't be the case anymore. I don't want to see Zach LaVine take dumb shots because no one else is willing to shoot up a shot. So that is the situation I think the Chicago Bulls are in right now with Zach LaVine, with the Bulls. And I see that being a very, very good thing. I see Zach LaVine keeping his efficiency and his stats going down. It's still a good season for Zach LaVine. And maybe that's just me. I know a lot of people are expecting him to once again have his stats risen. What I do want to know is that, do you think Zach LaVine could be an all-star this year or in the next season? Because in my opinion, Zach LaVine, that's something Zach LaVine needs to be aiming for. If he's claiming to be an all-star caliber team, if we're winning more games and Zach LaVine is that key to it, he should be aspiring to be an all-star. And I think that's the next step for Zach LaVine, all-star caliber. And you can do that with your stats not as great as they are. I mean, Chris Middleton are prime examples of that. Players that, even Kyle Lowry, players that don't have the greatest stats, but you just know that they're all-stars. Maybe Zach LaVine can reach that potential someday, but maybe he won't. I think if the team wins games, Zach LaVine will probably get more conversations within the all-star rankings. But that's up to the Bulls at the end of the day, more than just Zach LaVine. But that is something that he should be aspiring for. That's something that I believe the Chicago Bulls should be helping him get, because I think he's the most likely to get an all-star voting, getting into the all-star game. I think that's the aspiration. But again, it's all going to be up to the Chicago Bulls. Zach LaVine is the leader of this team. So I think win or lose, playoffs or not playoffs, Zach LaVine will get most of the brunt of the positivity or the negativity that will come towards the end of this season. And that's going to judge. That's going to really help. But we're going to have to wait and see. Billy Donovan is going to have a good role trying to get Zach LaVine into this team. If we're going to play a playmaking style of play, we're going to move the ball, all ball movement. There's no tough, ridiculous shots. Then we just might see a more efficient Zach LaVine, but also a Zach LaVine that is a team, more of a team-oriented player than just the ISO player or a player that just runs to his spot and takes shots. I hope you guys understand what I mean by that. So stat-wise, I'm not bothered about his stats. I want those efficiencies to stay up, and if he could do that, then I think it'll be fine by me. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think Zach LaVine should be going for this season? Should he be aspiring for an all-star position? Should he be carrying this team to the playoffs? Do you think his stats will be similar, if not higher? Or do you think that the team-oriented style of play will end up lowering Zach LaVine's stats, but does not mean he's a bad player? Again, there are so many ways we could judge Zach LaVine's season. Many people outside of the Bulls and within the Bulls teams, fans, we're going to be judging Zach LaVine differently. Everybody is. For me personally, as I've mentioned ridiculously amount of times in this video, the efficiency is where I see Zach LaVine's biggest upgrade or downgrade this season. If he can keep that efficiency up with very similar stats, even if they are a tad bit lower, then I think Zach LaVine is going to have a tremendous year this year. But we're going to have to wait and see, guys. Have a wonderful and safe day. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Take care and peace.